Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to the channel. As you guys see by the title, we are going to be doing why the Minnesota Vikings are going to be great this season. I'm going to be doing two videos. Both are going to come out tonight. It's why the Minnesota Vikings will be great and then why the Minnesota Vikings will not be great. We're going to take a really positive view on the Vikings, and if they execute these certain things, if these things go their way, they will be great. They'll be there during the Final Four, Conference Championship. They will be there. However, in the video come out later today, it's going to also be why they won't be great, why they will miss the playoffs, what could happen like besides injuries where we could really see this team struggle this season. But in this video, it's positivity. It's why the Minnesota Vikings have a strong chance to be great in this upcoming season. Let's get after it right now. For the Minnesota Vikings, last season they were riddled with injuries throughout the defense. They had opt-outs. The defense was nowhere near the Mike Zimmer standard in this era of football that we have been playing. However, this season the defense has completely flipped. They added Danielle Hunter is back, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr, Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce, DJ Wonham in year 2, Pat Peterson coming in, Xavier Woods coming in, Brashad Breeland coming in. It is going to be a completely new look on defense for this Minnesota Vikings. So to be great in this league, especially on defense, you need to be great at all three levels of defense. You need to be great on the D-line, especially we have seen that in these past couple years. So that's where we're going to start. I think the Minnesota Vikings' strength this year will be up front. It will be with those beasts, the purple people eaters type of thing that they have going on. Because if you look at the two last teams that represented the NFC in the Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, you guys remember when they beat the Vikings in the playoffs 2 years ago, that defensive line was disgusting. It had DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa. They had 5 first-round picks on that D-line, and they were the difference makers in that game. Then you look at last year. We all know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive story, but that front seven and that main group up front with Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett, JPP, you have multiple guys that can get after the quarterback, and the Buccaneers were actually the only team last year that had 5 guys with 6+ sacks, which is incredible considering the Vikings last year. I think we had 22.5 sacks total as a team. So if you look at the additions the Vikings made, they added 2 huge pieces in the middle, Dalvin Tomlinson and Michael Pierce. And a lot of people do not really know these names, but they are anchors in that defense. And if you're looking at the Mike Zimmer system that they run on defense, it is reliant on stopping the run and getting the third down. Basically, that's what it is. I mean, there's a ton of different looks that he gives, but basically, if you're breaking it down on just like Pee-wee football, it's stop the run, get the third and long, and then he gets creative. Last year, the Vikings did not have that, and last year the Vikings still won 7 wins. They still had 7 wins under their belt last season, so now you're adding these 2 big pieces in the middle, which will open up everything, especially for the all-pro linebacker we have, which is another layer to the defense that improved immensely. Eric Kendricks is going to have a huge season, because just like the offensive line helps out the running back, the defensive line helps out the linebackers. If he has 2 guys eating up double teams, Eric Kendricks might have 175 tackles at the end of the season. He might have 10+ tackles every single game he plays this year because he is a natural ball hawk. He is also incredible in coverage. We see in the NFL this year, tight ends are everything. Running backs out of the backfield are everything. When you have a linebacker that can move like that, like a Bobby Wagner, like a Fred Warner, like a Roquan Smith and Eric Kendricks, those guys are game changers out there. They can take away a tight end and not make him as dominant as he would have been if they don't have somebody of his stature. And then if you look at the back end, I really like what the Vikings did back there. You know, they shored up the cornerback position with adding a Breeland and adding a Mackenzie Alexander and adding a Patrick Peterson. There's still a ton of question marks, but there's a lot of deep talent. Even throwing Chris Boyd, Cameron Dantzler, you got around 5 guys there that could really step up, and we really only need 2 or 3 to step up. We know what Pat Pete will give us. Hopefully he's got a little more left in his tank than I am assuming he does right now, but also Harrison Smith, the embodiment of consistency for this Minnesota Vikings team. He's going to have a monster season. He just got paid, and he finally has other guys around the defense that are on the same level as he is, especially in the secondary, because ever since Rhodes kind of took that sharp hill down, he's been the he's been the anchor of the defense. So I can't wait to see what the Vikings game plans are this year, especially on the defensive side of the football with Harrison Smith and Pat Pete and Mike Zimmer, the brains that they have and the brain that they're able to come up with a elite game plan. I really cannot wait for it. Now, offensive side of the ball. This was the reason the Vikings had 7 wins last year. This was the reason why the Vikings were able to even be in the playoff picture later on in the year, kind of, was the offense. The offense was explosive last year. However, they struggled in big key spots. They were struggled on 3rd and short. What did they do? They added in Oliuda in that right guard position. Garrett Bradbury going into his 4th year. They drafted Christian Darrisaw. They got a little tougher up front with the Ezra Clevelands and the interior of the line where they can really go pick up those short 3rd and 2s with Dalvin Cook. Because so many times, even with how elite Dalvin is, there was times last year where this offense would stall and this offense would kind of get almost too cute or too bland. And a lot of that has to do with play calling, but a lot of it, also the other part of it, is the interior offensive line. So I think they just need to step it up a little bit. But then if you look on the outsides, this is where you get excited about this team. We all know in the NFL right now, receivers are everything. Every great team in the NFL right now has multiple great receivers. The Bills with Emmanuel Sanders, Diggs, and Beasley. The Buccaneers with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson. They got 5 of them. Then you even look at like the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and all that. Well, the Vikings have that. They have Jefferson. They have Adam Thielen. They have KJ Osborne, who will become a household name very quickly in this NFL. So I think the Vikings, they really have a chance to have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense, and if not, top 5 on each. So those are the reasons why the Minnesota Vikings will be great this year. They will have a much more experienced, intellectual defense that they did not have last year because they bolstered the D-line. They have guys back who they didn't have last year. And honestly, I love offense. I'm an offensive guy. I love breaking down offensive film. But if we're looking at this defense, I am so excited to see what Mike Zimmer has to dial up on those 3rd and 7s week 1 in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. I can't wait to see the double-A gap come back. I can't wait to see what he does with blitzing the corners like Brashad Breeland, blitzing a Harrison Smith, blitzing an Eric Kendricks, mixing up coverages. The defense is going to take a jump from probably bottom 5 in the league to a top 10 in the league in this upcoming season, and that's why the Minnesota Vikings will be great. And then it comes down to Kirk Cousins. If there hasn't been a quarterback that has been ridiculed more in this modern day area than him, let me know. Because he has been hearing this talk all offseason, the vaccine, you need to do this, everybody telling him what he should do, and I'm sure he just wants to get out there and play football and shut this whole shit up. Kirk's going to be playing angry. He's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder, and they're going to start off week 1 with a win in Cincinnati, and that's why the Minnesota Vikings are going to be great in this upcoming season. Skol Vikes. See you guys next time.